I'm Parveen Bansal, Secretary of Indian Associations of Tri-State Area of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. On behalf of the entire FIA fraternity, President Anil Bansal, the current Executive Committee, and Chairman Ankur Vaidya, Board of Trustees and member organizations, I welcome you all to the India Visa and OCI Town Hall. Today's town hall will be moderated by Bhargavi Kulkarni, who manages FIA's bi-weekly newsletter for the community. Bhargavi's journalism career spans over 2 decades. She has worked in several Indian American media organizations, including India Abroad, New India Times, Desi Talk. She currently contributes to AmericanKahani.com and SEMA magazine. With that introduction, I'm giving it over to Bhargavi. Bhargavi, take it up.
Thank you. Thanks, Praveen, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the FIA fraternity, I welcome you all to the India Visa and OCI Virtual Town Hall. Established in 1970, FIA is one of the largest umbrella organizations representing the strong and vibrant Indian American community in the tri-state area. It represents various issues that concern the growing Indian community at the local, state, and federal levels. Over the past 5 decades, the FIA has also tried to project a truthful and real image of India to the mainstream community and also further the interest of Indians living in the US. For today's town hall, we have with us His Excellency Consul General of India, New York, Randhir Jaiswal, Deputy Consul General Mr. Shatrughan Sinha, Counselor, Passport and Visa Division, Mr. Murugeshan Ramaswamy. Welcome, gentlemen. Although it is not represented here, a little bit about VFS Global. It is an outsourcing and technology services company that services governments and diplomatic missions worldwide. Beginning November 4th, VFS took over as the exclusive service provider for visa, OCI, passport, renunciation of Indian citizenship, and entry program verification services for the government of India in the US. The purpose of today's virtual town hall is primarily to expand the community's understanding of the workings of the new agency, VFS Global, as well as details about the transition from the old agency to the new agency. The first segment will aim to address collectively compiled questions regarding the transition process and its impact on the community. This has added significance due to the travel restrictions the pandemic has caused. The second segment will feature a question-answer session where our esteemed guests will address the challenges and concerns of the community. So let me start with the first question, if I may, Consul General Jaiswal. The community is very curious about how the transition will impact it. How will the transition to VFS Global impact the Indian American community?
Well, good evening, everybody, and I must thank FIA for organizing this session. You know, when we look at consular services, these services are the heart of people's issues. And whenever you're dealing with community and with people, it's always better that we have a cross flow of ideas. So we want to understand you better. And this is also an occasion for you to understand some of our issues on our side. Recently, we've had VFS Global, the new service provider, come into our consular services ecosystem. And there are some, these are initial days for them. And hopefully, as we cruise along, things would get stabilized. As it happens with everything new, there are teething issues, but we on our side are fully committed to make it as efficient, as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Consul General Jaiswal. I'm moving on to the next set of questions, which are related to the OCI and actually the OCI and the visa process. Will the OCI will the visa and the OCI process with the new agency improve the digital form filling process, and will the turnaround time improve? Because a lot of people have complained to FIA about delays in getting their OCI or their visas. So I know the transition is new, but I just wanted to know how it will impact.
So visas presently is being handled by the consulate directly. And visas, of course, to India, tourism visas are suspended. Other visas are good, which includes business visas, medical visas, employment visas, student visas, etc. Now, for people who have to visit India on an emergency, we give them entry visa, and most of time these, right now, of course, the applications are dealt with directly by the embassy, by the consulate, sorry, and we ask the applicant to send all the details via email, after which we clear the visa, and then he or she is required to send everything by courier. We are not, except in emergency, very urgent cases where the lead time is only few hours, we are asking people to post everything by mail. Because of COVID, we've had some cases here, and in the interest of everybody, we are asking people and requesting them that the arrangement be that everything is be done over the mail system. So that's on the visa side. On the OCI side, there is a cycle involved in all new OCI cases. So OCI applications are received here, they are processed, and they are sent to India. It involves a cycle of 3 weeks, and then the OCI application is issued. Now, on the OCI side, we are somewhat comfortable. There is a lag because of the new service provider. But the major issue that we are having right now is with the passports. I'll be very frank with you.
Sure.
So passports is where we have a lot of teething problems because of IT interface, because of the service provider being new, because of other technical reasons. So hopefully, on our side, dependency is 1 day or 2 days. That's about it. But we are trying our best.
Timeline or anything that you're looking at?
See, we are, here passports, earlier we were doing, the application comes in today, the passport is issued the following day, and third day it is out. So that is what we were doing. That was a turnaround time, 1 to 2 days. But during COVID times, of course, because of number of people not coming into office, not here, but in the service provider, these applications with the old Cox and Kings, they used to be kept there for 2 days, 3 days, also because of quarantine issues, etc. But on our side, the processing time is 2 to 3 days, 4 days. What happens is that in many of the cases, there are deficiencies, especially where you're dealing with a minor child. When you have to issue a passport for a minor child, a statement has to be, a notarized statement has to be got from both parents. There are several such issues. Now with this particular service provider, we are facing technical issues. Photo, clarity of photos, signature picked in the system such that it can be put on the passport, so that there is no problem for the traveler to go to India, so on and so forth. So these are some of the teething problems. Also the integration of their system with our system back home. So those are the kind of problems. We are cognizant of the problems because we receive a lot of mails ourselves, also on social media, feedback on social media, but we are trying to do our best. Let me assure you that hopefully we will be able to ride over this tide right now, rough tide, and we'll be back to the kind of efficient services that we were giving earlier. And in this respect, I would seek the understanding of all FIA members. Also, one has to be mindful that we are at a time where COVID cases are rising. There are issues, functional issues in regard to the pandemic as well.
Right. Since you bring up COVID, I'm going to ask you about the emergency visa. We have heard at FIA that people have visas, 10-year visas to India, but they still have to get an emergency visa to travel right now under COVID circumstances. Can you throw a little bit light on that?
So those 10-year tourist visas are on hold. Other 10-year visas or 5-year visas, such as business visas, for example, are good for travel.
Okay.
Okay. So those 10-year tourist visas are on hold. If anybody is required to travel urgently, we are discouraging people to travel because of rising COVID cases here. And situation in India also is, we do have cases, high number of cases in several areas. So for that reason, we only have emergency travel. If people are to travel for reasons of health, for reasons of emergency, for reasons of death.
So you will determine whether it's an emergency or no. Is that?
Well, in most of the cases, what happens is, I can tell you, we are issuing 50 to 75 emergency visas daily. I'm not too sure how many of them are actually emergency cases, but 50 to 75 cases. In most of the cases, the applicants, they come up with a prescription of the doctor stating the emergency, and that we have to honor.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Coming back to the OCI Card, Counsel General, there's been a lot of confusion with the reissuance of the card, like the under 18 or the 50-year-old once you turn 50. So can you enlighten the community about that a little bit, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, I'll ask my colleague to come in there.
Sure, thank you.
Regarding the reissuance of OCI cards, we have time and again requested everyone to get their cards reissued, especially when you are below 20 years old. Below 20 years old, whenever the passports are renewed, the person has to get the OCI card, new OCI card. Unfortunately, in the US, as the passports for minors are valid only for 5 years, every time the passport is changed, the child needs to get the OCI card renewed. On the other hand, between 20 to 50 years, if the passports get changed, then there is no requirement to renew the OCI cards. After 50 years, you will only need to change the OCI card only once. So if a person who has, just for the sake of explanation, if a person who has got the OCI card at the age of 55 doesn't need to change the OCI card at all, even if he or she gets a new passport. But if a person who gets an OCI card at the age of 46 and gets another passport at the age of 52, needs to get a new fresh OCI card reissued, but after 50 the reissuance has to be only once. So unlike a minor, when every time the passport changes you have to get a fresh OCI card, after 50 years you don't need to get your OCI card reissued. It has to be only once.
Okay.
So I hope that clarifies. We have put a number of press releases on our website, and I think those guidelines are should be sufficient. But in case there is any other confusion, you can always reach out to us.
Sure, thank you.
Also, I would like to come in there. You know, when it is a question of only changing the OCI card on account of change of passport, the process happens locally. So it's an affair. The passport and the OCI comes in a day or two and the OCI is ready, good to go. Okay. It is different from a new OCI card. A new OCI card has a cycle of 21 days where the approval comes from India.
Okay. Another concern that's been brought up to us is in the filling of the OCI forms. A lot of people have reached out saying that multiple email addresses are required, like you need to require.
Consul General has another engagement, so he will leave us, but our consul visa. Mr. Vijay Shankar Prasad will join us today again.
Okay.
Regarding your query regarding...
So basically, for the OCI application, each applicant requires a separate email address. And people have expressed concern with that, primarily for young kids, or whether it's senior citizens who are probably sharing an email address. So if you can just
that concern has, I think what you are pointing out is in the VFS form, a single person can fill up only one form, if I understand it correctly. We have already raised it with VFS and they're working on it. I think they have agreed on this, that one person can apply for the whole family, and there can be a group application for the whole family. So we will take it up again with them, and hopefully we'll get some solution very soon.
Right. There's also a concern expressed about the mailing and the shipping, all the shipping, mailing, gouging that's happening. Will there be any kind of a regulation on that between the new agency and the consulate?
The whole idea of having an OSP, an outsourced service provider, is to manage this process of receiving the applications and dispatching the applications, so that consulate can focus on the core work, that is the processing of the applications. As Consul General pointed out, there have been some issues regarding receiving of the applications, processing them at VFS and then dispatching them. But we are in constant consultation with VFS. We are, along with the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C., we have had a number of meetings with them so that this whole process is streamlined quickly. And hopefully they have given us some timelines as well. We hope that within the next 2 weeks, all these troubles will be over, and hopefully things will be much more streamlined on their end.
Sure. Another set of complaints that people have reached out to FIA is the lack of a proper communication channel between the outsourcing agency here at VFS Global and the applicant, or suppose there's an error in the form, or there's something that needs to be, they need to reach out to VFS. They have complained that they're unable to do it. There's not a proper channel, and it's not a guaranteed channel. So are we working on that, or how does that?
Thank you for sharing that concern. We are very well aware of this concern. Any deficiency in the forms have to be conveyed to the applicants at the earliest, and we have been emphasizing this with VFS for some time. They have certain IT issues, as Consul General also mentioned, and hopefully once that is sorted out, they will be processing these deficiency issues very quickly. There is another issue regarding the processing of the applications when they arrive at VFS. There are sometimes VFS needs this courier tracking IDs. We have asked them to do away with those and track the applications on the basis of the application numbers or the file numbers generated on the government website. Hopefully they will take care of that as well. We are also insisting that the call charges, sometimes when people are unable to locate their applications, they call VFS call centers, and some money is being charged for their calls. We have requested VFS that the amount which they are charging should be waived till the time the whole system is streamlined.
Right.
We are hopeful that they will consider this request, and this will be in the interest of the applicants till things are streamlined at VFS.
I think the discrepancy in the forms and the reason for error also happens with people with special needs, or senior citizens with special need. So there is a request, and there is also a concern to find out if there is going to be like a pre-internet era form filling service or something, a facility available to them or anything of that sort, because there's a lot of concern about that section of the community.
No, we are fully sensitive of these requirements. Many people are not able to fill up the forms themselves because of technical requirements, and probably they face issues regarding internet connectivity. Our earlier CKGS, the previous agency, used to provide a service where they used to assist applicants at their center in filling up the forms as well. Unfortunately, that option is not available right now with VFS, mainly because VFS has not been accepting in-person applications because of COVID restrictions. Right now, I cannot promise you that VFS will provide this assistance at this stage, but hopefully once the pandemic is over, we will try to find out some solutions. At present, my request to all those people who are finding issues regarding in filling up the form is to contact their relatives, their friends, and probably organizations like FIA, which can help in these cases.
The other concern is also whether there's a regulation in agents, because there are agents who will help assist you in filing a form or application and the intricacies related to that. But then there is also the whole problem with the price. So is there any plans to kind of regulate that, or
we have not had any agents on our panel. We do not engage with agents. We do not engage agents. Neither has VFS got any agents. So any person who approaches any agent does it on his or her own volition. We do not encourage that. The idea is to make the process easy in such a fashion that it is accessible and it is available for everyone. We will definitely assist. I mean, VFS call center is available. VFS call center is available for assisting people in filling up the forms. I've just been told by my colleague that VFS will provide the form filling services by charging around $20 for each form. So that can be availed. I understand that has not started yet, but in future, I'm sure that will be available. But my request to anyone who wishes to apply for passport, visa or OCI is to go to our website. We have made things very clear. All the information is available on our website, indiainnewyork.gov.in. If there is any confusion, please reach out to us. There are emails available. There is permit dashboard. And VFS call center or VFS form filling services will also be provided. So there are a number of venues available. I hope that takes care of this issue.
We are going to open up to the viewers, and we have several questions here. So I'm going to read them as I receive them, and then the esteemed guests can answer them. One of the first questions that we got is several travel agents reached out to the FIA with their concerns. They've authorized agents for CKGS, and they're requesting the same status with VFS to ensure that they can work with the community, and especially, the people who are not good with English. So what do you have to say to them?
In the previous contract with CKGS, we had that provision for CKGS could take engage some agents, third-party agents. But in the current contract with VFS, we don't have that provision. Third party should not be required. Our application process is not really very cumbersome. The forms are not very lengthy. There are certain documentary requirements, and those documentary requirements have been made clear both on our website as well as on VFS website. If there is any discrepancy, we are trying to iron those out.
Sure.
But hopefully all those documentary requirements are also very clear. So in this day and age, I would not encourage people to go to any agent for filling up that form. Of course, some travel agents will be angry with me for this, but I understand that it is in the applicant's interest not to engage third party or fourth parties. It's better to deal with VFS and deal with the consulate. If there is any discrepancy, of course, at the later stage also, we will come back and we'll request them to fulfill those discrepancies. Okay. Form filling is online and it is fairly easy.
Right. I think I'm going to get to the questions now. I have a question here from Archana. She asks, can you travel out of the country if your visa is in change of status from H4 to F1?
That is, I think, a question for US authorities. Any Indian national is allowed to travel to India. We don't worry about the visa status of that person. That the person should have a valid passport. If the passport is not valid, then they need to get an emergency certificate, or they need to apply for reissuance of their passport. We'll reissue another passport. But visa issues do not matter for Indian citizens to travel to India.
Okay, thank you. I have a question from Ravi Nair. It says, my adult son already got a new USA passport against his expired and lost passport, which had OCI stamped. Can we now get this OCI stamped in the new passport despite no police report, as he never lodged the lost report?
So I think his US passport was lost. So we are not worried about his US passport. Had it been the Indian passport, we would have probably asked him to lodge a police complaint. Right
Sure.
now, his question is whether he should get his OCI renewed. My
Sure.
advice is to get it renewed once, because he has lost his previous passport and he has a new passport. It's better to get a new OCI.
Sure.
If I may ask a supplemental.
Yes, please.
In the form, there is a space for including the police report. That's the reason.
For the loss of OCI?
No, loss of the all the US passport.
So is there a problem in registering a police complaint?
Because the passport was issued a few months ago already. We have already the new passport. So there is.
Sir, that is a question for the United States Department, USCIS. He's answering questions for India visa and OCI.
Agreed. We already got the US passport. The OCI application has a provision to provide the police report.
Okay. So, if you need any assistance with the police, we can always issue you some letter to assist. But,
Yeah,
if you have lost your passport.
Mr. Nair.
No,
Move on to the next question.
Okay,
hold on. I just want to finish my
Sure. Sorry,
statement here.
go ahead.
Yeah, Raviji, in any case, it is in your interest, if you have lost the passport, to report it to the police. There are chances, there is a likelihood that your passport will be misused. So it's better for you, even if it is not required in the OCI card, you should definitely report it to the police.
Yeah. Thank you for that suggestion, but the passport was of a minor, and his passport had already expired and a new passport got. That's the reason why.
You received a new one.
Yeah.
No, so, I mean, we are asking you for the new passport, right?
We already got the new passport, and now we want the OCI stamped therein.
OCI is not stamped, it is reissued.
No, we have to issue you a new OCI card.
We
In
have
any case, you write to us, I don't see any problem in your application because your old passport is lost. I don't think that we ask for your old passport. We ask you only for your new passport. And that should be sufficient.
Okay, I will come to you directly rather than taking up others' time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nair.
Yes.
I have another question from Abhay A. It says my child is US born and 2 months old. My visa extension petition is filed in the USCIS. To apply for OCI, should the parents have a valid visa approved? And his second question is, how long will it take to get an OCI?
No, we will not ask for the valid visa status for the parents because there are many such parents whose visa applications are under process at USCIS. So we understand this difficulty. He can apply for the OCI card for his child. Once the application is received at the consulate, it takes 3 weeks. So he should factor in that.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, I have a message, a question here from Vipul Fadia from New Jersey. He says, I received my OCI card on November 2012, and at that time my age was 54 years. Thereafter, my USA passport was renewed in the year 2014. So we addressed that, but do you need me to renew my OCI card?
No.
If not, when I travel to India, can I show my old USA passport with the OCI stamp page and gain entry in the USA?
Yes, as his OCI card was issued after he attained the age of 50, there is no problem in him traveling to India.
Okay. All right. There's a question. Can you please explain the details of signatures, photos for OCI card, especially the dimensions?
Comes in the application.
Once you fill up the government OCI application form on the website, you will be given the dimensions there. And sometimes people find it difficult to resize their photos and the signatures, but I think it can be done because we receive a lot of applications and people have been submitting applications. The dimensions and the specific requirements are available on the website. So
Sure.
I will not be able to recall it right now.
Right. Deputy Consul General, I'm going to ask you to repeat the OCI renewal 50-year guidelines. We have a lot of questions regarding that. So if you can just please repeat yourself once more, just explaining that guideline.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So I will try to make it much simpler. If for minors, you need to renew the OCI card every time you get a new passport. That should happen till the age of 20. After the age of 50, you need to renew the OCI card only once. Between 20 to 50, you don't need to renew the OCI cards.
Okay.
So the idea behind this is, as minor, the facial features, the physical features keep changing. And so that is why it is difficult to match the OCI card photo with the passports. So every time the child grows, a new passport is issued, another OCI card is required. Between 20 to 50, the features remain almost the same. And after 50, it is only required once. Anyone who has got the OCI card after the attaining the age of 50 need not reissue the OCI card anytime.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's another OCI related question. After applying for OCI, if we moved to a new address, how can you help us to send the card to the new address? How long will it totally take for an OCI for a minor?
So for change of address in the card itself, you need to reapply again. But if the question is the person has already applied and it is with us, and now they want to send it to a different address than in the form, we will not be able to do that, because we will go by the address which is filled in the form. If the person really needs the OCI card, then they need to visit the consulate just to show that we are handing over the card to the right person.
Okay. We are still on the OCI issue here. There's a question from Manohar. Says, my daughter has OCI. My daughter's OCI was issued in 2018. And we are planning to visit India in February 2021. Is the OCI enough for her travel? Any recent changes done for India visit? Thank you.
So up to 30th June 2021, we have extended this requirement of reissuance of the OCI cards. But I'm sure she can travel in February 2021. But my request to everyone, all the viewers and all the members of FIA is if the OCI card reissuance is required, then please apply it for reissuance, because then this whole trouble of sometimes getting rejected at the airport or problems with immigration authorities, that can be done away with. So my encouragement is already there. I would request also FIA to inform its members about the requirements. We can always help you with the language and our press releases. It is important to get it reissued. But till 30th June 2021, this has been, we are exempting people from this requirement.
Okay. There's again some questions from people about lack of communication with VFS. Mr. Prashant says website is not at all informative. It's very confusing. Mr. Kayal E says, can you request VFS to put some sample fill forms on the website? Last week, I paid $20 just to get one question answer from VFS.
Passport guidelines.
We will, the suggestion is very well taken. We will definitely request them to put up some sample forms. And in any case, we are in touch with VFS regarding the look and feel of the website, as well as the process flow of the website. We have given our suggestions. And they have incorporated quite a few of our suggestions. They are already working on many of these IT issues, and they have promised that they will come back to us with many of these fixes. Hopefully, all these irritants will be removed very soon, and we should be fine. Regarding the call charges, I understand this is a pain for applicants, especially for getting small information from VFS. We have asked VFS to do away with this call charges till the process is totally streamlined.
Sure. There's also there's a question from Prashant Sant. He asks how to better communicate with the consulate. He says that the phones are never answered. So
for answering the phones, we only answer phones directly on the emergency number. Now, emergency numbers are those. Emergency number is advised to be used only in cases which are really emergent cases, like death cases, or there is medical emergency, things like those. So those calls, a person will definitely immediately answer your call. For all other calls, we have a system of calling back. So any person who calls on our regular number, they will get a message that your call will be answered. We have developed a system where all these calls which we received are answered back. Now the problem sometimes happens is, the person who has called doesn't pick up the call or is busy. So our effort remains to answer all the calls which we receive. And mostly we are successful. Sometimes it happens that there is a sudden crisis, or there is a sudden change. We receive a lot of calls where we may be unable to answer back the calls within the next 24 hours. Right. But our effort is definitely to answer all the calls which we receive. Sure. If you don't receive a call back from us, then please write to us on Permit Dashboard. We will ensure that you'll get a response in the next 24 hours.
Sure. Thank you. There's a question again about the OCI from Mr. Praveen Gada. He says, my wife wants to get an OCI. Her brothers and sisters have OCI, but they are in the UK. Can my wife qualify for OCI? A letter from Indian Embassy in Kenya that my father-in-law is of Indian origin. Is it sufficient to get an OCI?
I think so. I don't see any problem. The only requirement is for OCI card holders is you have to be a foreign national. You can't be an Indian national and apply for OCI card. And then you have to show your Indian ancestry. So obviously we have to look at the documents, but the way you describe his case, I think she should be eligible.
Bhargavi, before moving to the next question, can have that pause for a minute and show the FIA involvement with the consulate and helping the community. If you can go through that one.
Sure. So the FIA has been actively involved with the community and has been hosting over the years visa camps to address the problems Indian Americans face to go through the consular services. So titled Consulate at Your Doorstep, these camps were part of the effort to streamline consular processes, which in turn will assist the applicants to better understand the process of documentation surrounding services like OCI and visa and renunciation of the Indian passport. Alokji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Bhargavi, it's all yours.
Sure. We have a question from Miss Rita. She says, how long will it take to process my OCI application if I send it today?
If you send it today, the application should reach VFS within the next couple of days, and I hope that VFS will send it to us quickly. Once it arrives at the consulate, we will immediately process it, and we will take 3 weeks from there. So if she posts her application today, then I think within 4 weeks she should have her OCI card in her hand.
Right. There's a gentleman who asks, says that probably his visa says multiple entry visa. It does not say business visa, and he's asking, are PIO cards valid for travel?
PIO cards are still valid for travel. Yes, they are valid. But I would advise him to change his PIO card to an OCI card. Regarding visa issues, I must make this point known. Visas have been suspended since March 12. Tourist visas have been suspended since March 12. All other visas were restored in October, but tourist visas have not been restored. I understand many of our Indian American friends here in the United States have this 10-year tourist visas, which are multi-entry, and they enable their stay in India for 6 months. Those visas, the tourist visas, are still not valid. So anyone who wants to travel to India and has the tourist visa, please note that you cannot travel on that visa. You need to reach out to us. You need to reach out to the consulate either through Pramit, or you can write to visa.newyork@mea.gov.in, visa.newyork@mea.gov.in. There is a press release on our website. You can look up that press release as well. Once you write to us and indicate the reason for your emergency travel, then we will send you the form, the link for the form, as well as we may ask you for some documents. Once you send the physical forms, we'll issue the visa. So I understand a lot of people are traveling to India, especially during the holidays. Our effort is to help people, but please do understand that these are the visas which are being issued are for emergency reasons. We are issuing entry visas for 6 months. So unless it is really an emergency, please wait till the visas are restored. Otherwise, if you reach out to us for emergency visas, we will definitely help you.
Right. I have another question here. From from Ravi. It says, I am a green card holder and trying to apply new OCI card. I don't see the option for green cards as it has to be a US citizen. So please help me what to do.
he has misunderstood his own situation. If he's a green card holder, that means he's an Indian national. As an Indian national, he cannot apply for overseas citizenship. Only when he acquires US nationality can he apply for an OCI card.
Okay, thank you. There is another concern that's come to us about although there's a large section of Indian Americans in the New York, New Jersey area, the FI particularly wants to know if there is going to be like an arm of a consulate or like a collection center in other parts of the tri-state area, Pennsylvania also. And FI is open to assist the consulate with something like that, like a community center or a collection center. And at this point, I would like to bring in FI President Anil Bansalji. Anilji?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bhargavji. And thank you, sir. You know, one of the major thing which we have really realized is that a lot of people are really New York. There seems to be a barrier. You know, it's an island by itself with a lot of issues. And as New Jersey is a very compact state and which has incredible number of diaspora people living here, I think one of the largest numbers. We really would like to see some kind of an office or maybe a community center which is promoted by Consul General. And I can promise you that FIA will do everything possible. It's not for us, it's for the community, that if you were to take a leadership role in that, then we will definitely help you, work with you in achieving it, because basically the fact is that we want to help the Indian diaspora, and you are in the right position of power and influence to make things happen. But please think about it, that perhaps a small community center and or an office where people can come and take care of these kind of needs would be an incredible improvement to the whole process. And it's good for India, because more travelers, more travel, more everything. Everybody benefits from it. So this is a humble request from us.
Thank you, Anilji, for that suggestion, and we should work on it. I cannot promise you anything from my side, from the government side, right away. But I think this is a good suggestion. If a community center is established, not only for Indian consular issues, but for various other activities regarding India, Indian culture, and the roots which people have within India. I think New Jersey has the largest concentration of Indian Americans, and the state totally deserves a community center totally dedicated to Indian Americans. We will definitely work together on this, and let us discuss it separately.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We just have a couple of minutes left, so I want to bring in as many questions as possible. And I think OCI is the flavor of the evening. So Anup Kumar is asking, do we need to send the original US passport and OCI card for renewal?
Yes, we asked for the new US passport, the US passport in original, but those US passports are not held at the consulate. Once our service provider VFS verifies those passports, it is sent back to the applicant.
There is also a question, it says, you mentioned that the OCI reissue takes place locally. Is it the same at other consulates also, like Chicago, Houston?
Yes, it is everywhere. The rules are the same. For fresh OCI cards, it takes 3 weeks, as I indicated earlier. The Consul General also mentioned. For renewal of OCI cards, once it is received, we are generally able to get it out within a week.
There is, so Cindy asks, but when a minor child turns 16 or 18, they are entitled to a 10-year passport. Assuming they get that immediately, then when they turn 20 years, must they renew an OCI?
I think so. Between 20 to 50, if you don't want to renew your OCI card every time, then at least for the first time when you get a new passport, you after turning 20, you need to get a new OCI card. The idea is to basically link your new passport with the OCI card. And once that happens, for the second and the third renewals, you don't need to get new OCIs.
There is a OCI, there's a COVID related question while traveling to India. When should I take COVID-19 testing if I'm traveling to India? Is there a need for another test after landing in India?
The guidelines are available on our website. If you go to what's new, there is a November 5 press release. You can go also in the press release section of our website. We have given the new guidelines. The new guidelines from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare indicate that the time period for getting the COVID test is 72 hours from the time of boarding. So earlier it used to be 96 hours. That has been reduced to 72 hours before the time of boarding. Of course, there are exemptions provided to institutional quarantine in cases of death cases or other family emergencies. So, but there is a link available in that press release where you can upload your test report or you can upload your exemption request as well.
Okay, I think we let's see if I can squeeze in this one last question. It says I became a citizen when I was a minor, under 18 through my parents. But I didn't get any naturalization and I don't have one. I have a US passport. So on the application, there is acquisition section and I'm not sure what to put descent. If I choose one option, can I show proof of my US passport? And does it have to be colored and original or can it be copies in black and white print? I think this is again an OCI question if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm not sure what to answer in this question. I think I'm stumped in this. All the other questions I answered. I think his question is regarding his uploading of his documents of his US passport. Of course, his US passports need to be uploaded on the OCI website. Apart from that, I could not understand the question. He has a new passport. The newest passport, the present passport needs to be uploaded on the OCI website.
Sure.
And that is my answer. If there is anything missing, please let me know, Bhargavi.
Anilji, we have about 3 minutes left. So if you want to take over, please.
Could you please repeat it?
No, I told the president we have about 3 minutes left. So I wanted him to take over now.
Sure, thank you. Praveen ji, if you can unmute Dr. Avinash Gupta, he has been asking for a question. So let him first ask the last question and then I will conclude, please. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
First of all, thank you, Consulate and the FIA for having this very informative and useful conference. A lot of people from Bajana and also the temple were asking for it. And I have a two-part question. One is both my American passport and OCI were issued after I turned 50. So when I renew my passport next time, do I have to get a new OCI? That's one question. The other question was, do I need to carry both OCI card and the lifelong visa with multiple entry, which is in my old passport?
Dr. Gupta, it's good to see you. You do not need to renew your OCI card because you acquired the new OCI card after you turn 50, I just said. The OCI card is sufficient for travel to India. You don't need another multiple entry visa which you already had. So you're most welcome to travel to India.
Thank you.
So with that, we would like to conclude on behalf of the entire FIA family and the Indian diaspora. We thank Honorable Jaiswal ji and the Deputy CG Sinha ji and your whole entire staff. FIA and the Consul General Office has always been partnering for decades to bring issues of the Indian diaspora and solutions. I really want to thank our chairman, Ankur Vaidya, and our entire executive team for working hard to put this program together. And very special thanks to Bhargavi Kulkarni, our moderator, and our technical advisors, Mr. Praveen Bansal and Alok Kumar. And God bless everybody. Thank you very much for participating in this important program. And we hope that you continue to join when we put these kind of programs together. So thank you. Jai Hind. Enjoy India.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.